Chefs, what's the most disrespectful thing that's been said about your creations? She went on a racist rant comparing my fine dining cooking to making egg fried rice. I've been married to my wife for 10 years and we're a mixed race couple. I'm Asian and she's Caucasian. I've gotten along with her mother, brother, and younger sister. Although, I always felt like her father, and her other sister, Sarah, never liked me. I'm a professionally trained chef with 15 plus years of experience and I work at a high-end Chinese restaurant in New York City. My crew and I have won several awards, and I've been explicitly told I'll be the next executive chef. Sarah is also a professionally trained chef and works at a popular upscale French restaurant in the city. She constantly brags about it and compares herself out loud to Gordon Ramsay. Whenever I'm at my wife's parents' house and helping out in the kitchen, Sarah is always criticizing everything I do. Whether it's chopping, braising, marinating, etc., she always butts in with comments like I think you should actually do X like this. I've been patient because she's my wife's family and sidestepped those comments, saying things like thanks, but I think I'll stick to the way I do it. Things came to a head when my wife, her parents, and I were in her parents' kitchen prepping dinner for her mom's birthday. We were running a bit behind so things were heated. I kind of like it because it reminds me of work, but that's when Sarah walked in. She took one look at what I was doing, scoffed, and said something like, "Oh wow, okay, so that's not the right way of doing things." It hit a nerve and I pretty sternly told her to stop criticizing my cooking and that I'm also a chef like her. She laughed and said making egg fried rice at some Chinese restaurant doesn't count. The kitchen went silent. My wife's father just snorted and chuckled, while her mother yelled, "Sarah, what is wrong with you?" I stopped what I was doing, swore at her and called her a racist piece of trash, apologized to my wife's mother for not being able to stay, and left for home with my wife. This caused a massive fight after we left, with my wife's mother, brother, and other sister taking my side, while her father and Sarah said it was a joke but kind of true and that I was being too sensitive. After the incident, I posted about what had happened on my social media. My wife got a call from Sarah. She started crying the moment my wife picked up and said that she had just been demoted because of your stupid Asian husband. Apparently, some of her coworkers have her on Facebook and showed a post to management, which combined with an earlier rant, kicked her back to being a line cook. My wife told her to go flip herself and is now solidly on my side after taking the verbal abuse from Sarah. My wife's father sent me a long ranting voicemail threatening to hurt me if I didn't take my posts down. My wife called her mom and asked her what was going on with dad. Her mom was confused, so my wife played back the voicemail I had on my phone, and apparently her mother literally just walked away from the phone without hanging up and started screaming at her father. Some people even tried to call the restaurant I work at to get me fired as retribution, but luckily everyone there is 100% on my side. Or as my boss puts it, F Sarah, F those racists, F them so much. I guess it didn't help them that half the calls involved threats, screaming, and more racial slurs. On Sunday night, my wife's mom suddenly showed up at our door with overnight bags. After we took a moment to help unpack and calm down, she spilled the beans on everything. Apparently, she and her husband were already having trouble in their marriage, and it was only made worse with a certain 2016 presidential election. Seems that a line was crossed with the fried rice incident and his voicemail. When he refused to apologize for anything, she asked for a divorce and he went berserk. She didn't feel safe there, so that's when she came over. Also, Sarah came over to her place on Friday. The writing was on the wall and she was basically forced to quit. Despite her trying to start from scratch as a line cook, the entire staff turned against her. Nothing was coming back from the dish pit for her and she was getting the cold shoulder. She's a great chef, but they took no chances since it turns out they're partly owned by a Chinese investment company. Word also got around in the local industry, and Sarah is essentially blacklisted from high-end establishments. She's now considering selling her home and moving to find work. As much as I don't like her and found her behavior horrifying, I didn't intend for this to happen, so I've reached out to some buds in other states to see if they had any openings. Whether or not she wants to take it is up to her. No, she has not apologized for anything either, but I still want to be a decent person to her.